Hello, everyone!
We kick things off inside a room, where a man watches on as a woman locks the door to their room. She asks him if he understands what this means, but he is new to comic guzzlers, so he doesn't. That's when the woman holds on to him and explains that since he has followed her into her room, it means he wants to do unspeakable acts with her. Bro wonders how this has happened to him, but then we are taken to a flashback, wherein the same man is seen inside an adventurer's guild. Suddenly, a party walks in, and we learn that they are all S-rank girls who are active in the royal capital. They all look like total babes, as there is a female warrior, an archer, a magician, and a healer with pillows that can cure cancer. The name of this party is Rosencruiser, and they have come to conquer the Hungry Wolf's dungeon in this town. Our hero instantly identifies them as beauties, and he would love to ask even one of them out on a date. The female warrior approaches the reception girl, who is already quite nervous in addressing a member of Rosencruiser. Our hero is right there, and he decides to take over from between the pillows. He welcomes the girls to the Adventurers Guild in Cassandra City, after which he asks what they would like to know. The female warrior explains that they usually operate in the royal capital, and had come to this town as the Melda Company's guards. Their clients didn't need an escort back, so the girls decided they might as well challenge the Hungry Wolf's dungeon before they leave. Our hero figures they need a map of the dungeon, so he gets them one. After explaining the layout, he is told that the curvy babes will get back to him if they need anything. Our hero asks the girls to be careful, and then they leave. Now, somebody pats him on the back, and it happens to be the guild master. He admits that the women were quite beautiful, and thanks our hero for handling it. We learn that his name is Rio, and he wonders why such a party would come to this town in the first place. Anyway, he wanted to ask them out, but figured he'd have no shot, considering he is just a guild employee. The guild master tells him he's right about that, although the statement only inflicts some emotional damage. There also happens to be a magic item that has been brought by the Melda Company, so Rio needs to appraise it. He goes ahead and takes a look at it, but has to be careful while he's at it. He slowly takes out the item, but messes up when he bumps into something, which causes some other items to fall to the floor. One of these things happens to be some kind of magical item, and since its container is broken, there is a massive surge. Our hero is blinded by the lights, and then we see a cute little fairy girl who thanks him for breaking her seal. Rio is confused at first, but then the fairy girl introduces herself as Orion Deal. She has been released from a seal that was 300 years old, which sounds a bit unbelievable to Rio. Either way, Orion is now free to roam around, thanks to him. Rio feels bad for her, because it must have been tough being locked up for so long. The fairy girl likes his sympathy, and decides that he is a kind man. Due to this, Orion wishes to express her gratitude to her benefactor, although Rio did not mean it that way. The fairy girl commends his humility and says it's fine. Rio asks why she was sealed, but she says it's a terrible story. A long time ago, she was crying because she got injured in a forest, but then a human man came to her aid. In return for his kindness, Orion cast a spell on him that made him really popular with the ladies. Rio is happy to hear this, but then Orion reveals that the man's popularity ended up causing a lot of violent incidents across the country. This seems a bit suspicious, and then Orion reveals that the man resented her for making him so popular. Due to this, he sealed her in the bottle, but this story seems to alarm Rio. He knows about this incident because it has gone down in history as a pretty tragic tale. Basically, the kingdom was doing well on its own, until one day all the women went crazy for one single man. Due to this, constant disputes came up around him, and in the end, one woman ended it all over her love for him. A lot of other women followed in her footsteps, due to which the entire country fell into demise. This could become a huge problem for Rio, so he casually tells Orion that he has to get back to work. However, the fairy girl will not let him off so easily, and decides to cast her spell on him right away. Bro panics and asks her not to do this, but she says there's no need to worry. If Rio is in a hurry, then she will get done with it in an instant. Our hero tells Orion that he is scared of becoming popular, but this backfires on him. Due to his humility, the fairy girl decides this world is not so bad, due to which she will make Rio even more popular. Bro is cooked, and he begs Orion to stop, but it's too late for that. The magic circle is cast around him, and then Orion tells him to have a good life. Later, Rio is woken up by the guild master, but he gets spooked out by his appearance, which in turn scared the guild master too. He asks his boss not to scare him, but he pulls an Uno reverse by saying Rio was the one who surprised him. Our hero takes some time to recollect his memories, and he remembers the fairy girl. Rio asks the guild master about Orion and her bottle, but he has no idea what our hero is trying to say. Rio says that he broke a magic bottle while appraising the item from earlier, but the guild master is pretty clueless. As a matter of fact, he says that there have been no requests for any appraisal items today, which surprises Rio. Even when he looks around, he can't see any magic items or broken bottle shards. Our hero is quite confused, so his boss tells him he can leave early if this is too much for him. Rio figures he must have been dreaming, so he apologizes, but the guild master tells him to let him know if he is unwell. Rio seems relieved and decides to go back to his job at the placement section. The guild master tells him to go to the reception because he is the only other male member here, apart from his boss. Rio goes to the reception, but this setting seems all too familiar. That's when the S-rank party shows up again, which now convinces our hero that he has gone back in time. Something is different though, as the folks refer to the S-rank babes as late to marry, hinting that they are too old to marry. Of course, someone like Ceres would have no problem with such angels, but this is a different story. Anyway, people mock the girls for having no other use, and even they look very shy and reserved compared to before, but at least the healer still has massive pillows. Now, the warrior girl approaches Rio and bows down to him while introducing her party. She tells him the exact same thing she had said the last time, but with a shy face. Bro takes a look at the other girls, and they too are hiding from his sight due to being extremely reserved. Rio behaves politely by saying this town does not have any high-rank adventurers, so it's nice to have the Rosencruiser party here. The warrior girl asks for a map of the dungeon, so Rio repeats the same chain of events. However, he emphasizes to the warrior girl not to get injured while hunting monsters and finding treasures. She blushes heavily and thanks Rio for his kind words. Later in the night, as Rio walks the streets, he feels that something is off. Ever since he had the dream about the fairy girl, everything feels like it is being repeated. However, he maintains that Orion was not real because he does not feel popular at all. He then enters an inn so that he can change his mood with a drink. He is greeted by the bartender, who refers to him as Popular Boy. He doesn't pay much heed to that, but he does notice that all the customers here are women. That's when he notices that the female warrior from Rosencruiser is also here. She could relaxing after exploring the dungeon, but to Rio, this is their third time seeing each other today. He worries that he might come across as a creep if he looks at her again, but she happens to be the one approaching him. Her teammate asks her to stop, and we learn that her name is Carla. The female warrior scolds her for getting in between, because Rio was the same man who responded kindly to her. Of course, being a guild receptionist means that Rio needs to be friendly anyway, but Carla maintains that she should at least give it a shot. Her teammate is not in favor of this, and we learn her name is Iris. Carla tells her to go back to the table because she is going to go all in. She is now in front of Rio, who waits for her to say something. Carla asks if his work is over, and he introduces himself, after which he asks if she has come back from the dungeon. She reveals she did a preliminary scouting today, after which she asks for another ale for Rio. He thanks her, and then they raise a toast. Rio notices that Carla is slowly getting wasted, considering the amount she is drinking. After she is done with her drink, she asks our hero if he would like to come upstairs to her room. This is liquid courage doing its thing, but Carla realizes how shady she must sound. So she says she doesn't mean to be weird. It would be a lot quieter in her room, so Rio agrees, but Carla seemingly thinks that he rejected her. After she feels sorry for herself, she realizes that Bro said yes, and this surprises Iris too. Rio simply thinks that Carla has something important to discuss with him, as he is a guild employee. He does not believe she could ever flirt with him, but now the female warrior is pumped. She asks if he is being serious, and he casually says yes, so Carla immediately asks the innkeeper for the keys. With that, the two of them go upstairs while Iris watches on in disbelief. Now, Rio enters the room and is pleased to see the residential part of the tavern. It's his first time here, and we learn that a drunkard would play games of elephants and kitties with customers on the second floor of the tavern. That could be the reason why this room has been assigned for such tasks. Rio tells himself that he is not here for such things, and he should just discuss whatever Carla wants to talk to him about. Now, we are back to the present as we saw in the beginning of this video. Carla tells Rio that he must only be here because he has shady intentions, but he is still clueless. With that, the female warrior pounces on our hero like her prey. All kinds of intrusive thoughts fill up the room, and even Rio can't control himself any longer. He asks Carla to calm down, but ends up feeling her pillows, which are also quite impressive. It's so soft and nice that Bro's hands have a mind of their own. Even to Carla, this has never happened, and she is feeling great right now. She still thinks she's ugly, which is not at all true. But anyway, she likes that Rio was nice to her, and she was dreaming of this right from the moment they spoke. She acts innocent and says that Bro really likes to feel her pillows. Bro tells her not to underestimate herself because she is beautiful, and this is more than enough to set her heart racing. Carla gets into her birthday suit and is feeling all kinds of things right now. Her twin peaks are played with, and it makes her go even crazier. Bro wonders if it's okay for him to do this, but Carla is having a blast, so he continues. As a matter of fact, it feels a lot better to her than when she embarks on solo missions. Surprisingly, after some time, this simple act is enough for her to Her pants are drenched now, thanks to all that kitty water, but then Carla apologizes to Rio. He is confused, but then she says that she is the only one who is feeling good between the two of them. She then tells Bro to make his entrance because the pathway has been cleared for him. After all, she wants to repay the favor, and things are getting quite heated up. She wants Rio to also enjoy himself, and even though this is her first time, she is fully prepared for him. If Rio does not want to see Carla's face, she can cover it up for him too, although that would be ridiculous. Rio gets into the zone as well, and decides to kick things off in typical comic guzzlers fashion. It's an insane sensation for her, and it's a lot for her first time. Suddenly, Bro notices some blood, so he is surprised that it is actually Carla's first proper experience. She is just happy that someone plucked her flower, because she has esteem issues. Rio asks if she is fine, to which she says yes, and even asks him to hurry up. With that, some extremely shady action is kicked off, and Bro moves his hips like Shakira. He decides to play with Carla's twin peaks too, as it seems to get her worked up. Rio operates like a master of his craft, and soon enough, he causes yet another explosion for Carla. Now it's his turn, and Carla ups the tempo for her lover boy. He can't hold it in any longer, so it's time for Carla to also get some fresh elephant water. This goes well, and the two of them activate their tongue twister 300 to close it off. Carla is very happy that Rio even locked lips with a person like her, and the way she smiles at him is enough for his python to stand in attention again. He wants to go one more round, which Carla finds quite surprising. She can't believe anybody want to lock lips with her again. But lips isn't the only thing that's on Bro's mind. He is a man of culture after all, and officially becomes a true comic guzzler's hero by kicking off round 2. Now we move on to the next day, as we see our hero all bright and chirpy after his session with Carla. The girls at Guild notice something different about him, and wonder what has happened. Rio thinks back to Carla telling him he's amazing and proactive, and then we see him relieving himself in the washroom. Suddenly, Orion pops up behind him and asks if he likes this world now. Bro is shocked to see her because it confirms that he was not seeing some dream. The fairy girl comments that Ryo is already enjoying the benefits of being popular, and that's when we learn that he has actually been transported to a parallel world. It is not a parallel paradise like how Yuta operates, but it's still great for Ryo. Over here, the values of beauty are reversed, which now makes Carla's behavior more understandable. There are also way more women than men in this world, so Bro is at a great advantage. Having said that, Orion feels that the reason Ryo and Carla became so close so quickly was because of his kind personality. The main shocker for our hero is the fact that he is in a parallel world, but Orion is surprised that he hasn't already picked up on it. Ryo wants to know more, as he now understands that he has been transported to a parallel world where he is popular. Orion says she did this to repay her debt, as she did not like the charm skill she had used the last time. In that case, this world is much better, and Bro is glad that he didn't end up destroying his country like the last guy. Ryo now understands that he is popular because this world has few men, and the rules of beauty are reversed. He thinks he is considered handsome here, but Orion says he has a plain face, which is only further emotional damage. Basically, even if you reverse the average, you will remain average, and this sucks for our hero. Ryo accepts his fate and says this is probably for the better, because handsome men have a lot to worry about. Then, he realizes something about the Rosencruisers party. They are considered ugly in this world, which explains why the people look down on them and also why nobody has married these girls. If we were to use a suitable example, Carla inviting Ryo was like an ugly man inviting a total babe to his room, and she agreed instantly. Now, Ryo asks Orion if she can reverse the magic she cast on him, and she figures it's because he does not want the Rosencruiser women to feel bad about themselves. The misconception he has is that the world's common values and sense have not changed. It's just that his soul has been swapped with the Ryo from this world's body. This means that Orion can return him to his original world, but that won't change how the women of this world are already treated. Keeping this in mind, it won't make a difference to public perception whether Bro returns or not. Ryo confirms that his parallel self is now in his original world, and Orion says that he is actually enjoying himself over there. This is surprising for him to hear, but then Orion explains that the other version of Ryo bumped into a woman with low self-esteem on his way to the tavern. He showered her with praises and went to her house, so both versions of our hero have gotten lucky. A special kind of Riz, and then Orion explains that Carla's memories won't be erased even if Bro goes back to his original world. This means that if his parallel version comes back, then he will most likely reject Carla in this world. That would be extremely unfortunate for Carla, and it makes Ryo very sad. Orion tells him she just wants her benefactor to be happy, so he has no other choice but to accept his fate. Now, Orion starts to fade away, so Ryo panics. She says that it takes a lot of magic for her to travel between parallel worlds, which is why she is going back to Ryo's original world. She came here to see how our hero was doing, and she won't be able to see him for a while after this. Ryo seems to be happy about this, but he tells Orion not to think too much about it. She gets around to understanding what he means, and with that, she bids him farewell. Now that the fairy girl has left, Ryo prays that they never meet again, because he does not want to end up like the previous man she had charmed. Of course, Orion is quite powerful, so Ryo wonders what kind of fairy she is. He feels he should do a little research about these things in the guild library when he has the time. At that moment, the guild master shows up and asks Ryo why he is sitting here. After all, he's the receptionist, and also the black pearl of their guild. Of course, this sounds as if he is being called some kind of mole, but that's not the point. Anyway, our hero thinks back to how the roles of beauty have been reversed for men and women. Since the babes vastly outnumber the men, they are likelier to be adventurers. This means it's not too strange for a man like him to be a receptionist. Bro was spacing out, so he needs to come back to his senses. The guild master is a lot scarier than him, so it makes sense for Ryo to be the face of the guild. However, He quickly notices some women going crazy over the guild master's very breath itself. Of course, the women praising him aren't exactly what you would call the standard of beauty on comic guzzlers, but we try not to be mean. It turns out that some adventurers only come to this town to see the guild master, as he is of unparalleled beauty in this world. Basically, he is quite literally the Giga Chad Ultra Pro Max Victoria's Secret version. That may be strange, but Rio is relieved that he has an ordinary face, otherwise he too would have become extra popular. Anyway, he decides to leave early, and no one bats an eye. He'd normally be the last one to leave in his previous world, and being a receptionist isn't too bad over here. He is treated specially, but at the same time, men get attacked quite frequently. Rio does not know if being summoned to this world is a good thing or a bad thing, but then he has another surprise on his hands. Someone approaches him from behind, and it's none other than Iris. There's something she wishes to ask our hero, but we can all guess what it might be. First of all, Bro wants to know how she was able to find him, so she explains that she used search magic for that. There is something that she needs to know from Rio, and it's basically his purpose in this world. Rio does not understand what she is trying to say, but in essence, Iris wants to know what his intentions are for getting close to Carla. He is confused, because Carla was the one who approached him yesterday, but that's not what Iris meant. Guild staff are not supposed to favor any adventurers, but Bro still went for Carla. Rio says that he thought Carla was wonderful, but Iris can't digest this. Our hero even says that he and Carla will become lovers, which is even more of a surprise to her. After all, they have just met, so Iris wants to know if they have been acquainted before. Rio says no, but he is ready to go out with Carla as she is beautiful. Of course, Iris can't believe this because the standards of this world are different. She thinks that Bro is teasing her, even though he is speaking facts. Iris soon realizes that she is being unreasonable, and becomes a bit emotional too. Rio also figures he could have misled her by his words, as she could just be looking out for her companion. Iris has come to visit him alone, so he feels she is a good person who cares about her friends. On that note, our hero tells Iris that his sense of beauty and ugliness is quite different from the people of this world. He does not have a different sense of values as such, but the women he is attracted to are of the comic guzzler's gold standard. Iris can't believe it at all, and states that such a thing is impossible. Rio simply says that it does not hinder his life, so he just keeps his tastes to himself. With this in mind, Iris asks him if her face looks pretty to him as well. He says that she looks extremely cute, which makes her blush almost instantly. She is being called cute by a man, and it becomes too much for her, so she points at Rio, almost in disbelief. She thinks that Bro is lying, and it could be that he is after money, which is why he is deceiving Carla. She needs to see receipts, which in this case would be a different kind of proof. Basically, she wants Rio to do shady things to her, just like he had done to Carla. This is quite out of pocket, but Iris says that she is an elf, and her race is believed to be the ugliest in this world. That's quite difficult to believe, but Iris says that if our hero can spend one night with her, then she will believe him. This is a dream come true for any man of culture. So Rio takes Iris to his room in order to prove he is a true gentleman. Iris is in a man's room for the first time, and it smells quite nice to her. Of course, Bro wonders if it was a good idea to invite Iris to his room, but she is an elf girl at the end of the day, so he would be stupid to refuse. Plus, if this was his original world, then such a babe would be totally out of his league, no matter how much he'd cry or beg for her. He does not want to rush anything, so he asks Iris if she would like some tea. She says yes, and then Rio asks if she is fine to use the same cup he has been drinking from. This surprises her, so he asks if she does not like that idea. However, she is ready to pay him for it, although money is not on his mind right now. With that, Iris takes a sip of the tea from Rio's cup, and rejoices because she has now gotten an indirect kiss from him. However, our hero tells her that they are going to do a lot more than just an indirect kiss over here. This causes Iris to spill her drink, and she says sorry for making a mess. That won't be the only mess she'll be making, as Rio tells her he'll wash her clothes. She anyway needs to get rid of them for what's to come next, so it's better to do it now. This makes her a bit awkward, but she does it anyway, revealing that she has a flat-screen TV. Of course, a real man of culture does not discriminate, and Rio is taken away by her beauty. The elf girl asks him how she looks, and assumes that he finds her ugly. He says no, and holds her hand, thus furthering her heartbeat. He then proceeds to get their lips involved, and then the tongue twister 300 comes out. Iris is pleased, because she has finally gotten to experience this with a man. Rio confirms that he can do a lot more than this, because consent is important, and Iris says it's exactly the reason why she came here. On that note, Bro sits next to her and proceeds with his standard duties. It's not just the lips, but the neck too, and then the twin peaks. Iris is totally losing herself in these sensations, so Rio asks if she is convinced by his actions. She obviously does not want it to stop, so she says that all of this could still be an act. This still isn't enough proof for her to know about Rio's true intentions. Our hero doesn't mind moving forward, as Iris totally gets into birthday suit attire and positions herself next to Rio. Her heart beats even harder, and she likes the smell emanating from a certain area. Honestly, Bro finds it a bit scary that his python is smelling good to an elf girl, but that's the way of this world. A thought comes across his mind, so he asks Iris which race she believes to be the prettiest of this world. She instantly says it's the race of dwarves, which is a surprise to Rio. They have muscular bodies like barrels, and they also have flat noses to go with bulging eyes. Iris finds them to be extremely beautiful and mesmerizing, so let's just say we're glad we don't live among dwarves. Anyway, Iris tells Rio there's no point in trying to distract her with these topics. She can't turn back now, so it's time to meet Bro's elephant. It grows in size as expected, but Iris is up to the task, and she unleashes her tongue twister Hawk Tua 6000. Iris personally feels it is an honor for her to do this, so she gives it her all and leaves no stone unturned. Rio is surprised by her eagerness, but she only asks if he likes how it's going so far. It makes her even happier that she has been able to make it reach maximum size with her skills. With this in mind, Rio asks her if she now believes he does not have bad intentions for Carla. She does believe our hero now because Rio has been looking at her this whole time. If it was any other man, it would have been difficult to keep eye contact with someone like her, which is still unbelievable by Comic Guzzler's logic. She wants the real deal, so Iris will completely believe Rio if he gives her some elephant water. The tongue twister gets upgraded to 9000, and Iris really puts in serious work. Bro decides to reward this effort by giving the elf girl what she wants. Iris now finally knows what this water tastes like, and she thanks Rio for the meal. Now, our hero drinks some tea and seems to be lost in some kind of thought. Iris asks him what's wrong, so he reveals that he was thinking about something, probably about his previous world. Iris now reveals that she is still uneasy about their session. She knows that Bro isn't lying about his attraction towards her, but it's almost too good to be true. She makes a really cute face as she says this, so our boy's intrusive thoughts come out to play. He grabs her and says they should go all the way now if she is fine with it. She is more than happy to do this because she will finally lose her innocence, but before they can get it done, there is someone knocking on the door. Rio goes to check on who it could be at this hour, but Iris panics because she can make an educated guess. Our hero opens the door, and it's none other than Carla, who asks where he has been for a whole day. Rio asks her what she is doing at his house, and she says that she had her friend Suki Kage use search magic to locate him. She does not want to cause any trouble, so Rio says it's fine, but then Carla turns over to the dark side. Bro did not visit her even at this hour, so she was worried about him. Also, Suki Kage told her that Rio had some business at the Adventurers Guild. With that, her rage is redirected towards Iris, who decides to go get dressed up as soon as possible. Now, there is a tense atmosphere as Carla confronts Iris and Rio. Even though she isn't technically dating our hero, the silence is deafening, so Rio asks if he can get Carla anything to drink. She simply asks Iris what she is doing here, but before the elf girl can answer, Rio says that Iris was worried her friend might get deceived by him. At first, Carla believes it, but then she asks why it was necessary to do unspeakable things with Rio for that. Rio says that it was for him to explain his condition of liking girls who are generally considered unattractive here. Carla gets it, but she also mentions that Iris should have just used Tsukikage's mind-reading magic. Rio himself is surprised to hear this, as Iris makes a guilty face. He asks if this allows one to know what the other person is thinking, but Iris says it's not an exact science. You can tell if the person is lying, and it's a very rare kind of magic. Carla calls out Iris for keeping this a secret, but the elf girl clearly wanted to have a shady experience. Now, our hero points out that even if someone can use search magic, then it should not be able to tell you the situation of the target in such detail. He asks Carla how she can know so much, and that's when Iris becomes alert. She realizes that Carla was listening in on their intimate conversation, and it looks like she is guilty indeed. Carla reasons that after Tsukikage used search magic to find Rio, she rushed here, but Bro and Iris were already locked in by the time she arrived. Iris calls her out because invasion of privacy is not something commendable. Carla asks if she should have just walked in at that time, but Iris says that would still have been better than sneakily listening in. Carla drops to the floor, but she asks why the elf girl is making a move on Rio. She did find him first, and then she even recalls that Iris had tried to stop her, which is super suspicious. Rio tries to get them to calm down, but Iris admits that it's not fair for only Carla to get to enjoy with her lover boy. After all, they did promise to always support each other, and points out that they were going to live together if they didn't find any lovers or husbands. The first half should have been enough to get her point across, but things are getting really awkward now. Iris adds that it's unfair for only one of them to lose their innocence, as she may have had ulterior motives, but Carla was still the woman who went out of her way to make the first move. Carla feels a bit guilty now, but Rio does not understand how the situation has been reversed. Iris declares that it's not right to hog our hero all to herself, as she too wishes to graduate from the University of Being Untouched. Rio asks Iris not to shout out such things while in someone else's house, but he also knows that he could be the reason why the girls cancel their dungeon exploration. He does not want that to happen, so he comes up with an idea to make things work out. He decides to speak up, and tells Carla that she is acting as if she is his girlfriend. He does not want her to behave that way, because it's not what he wants. Carla is upset to hear this, especially because of how nice our hero was being to her. However, Rio activates villain mode and says that it was just lip service. He was being nice because it had been a while since an S-rank adventurer had come to this town. That's all there is to this, but Carla becomes really saddened by what she has just heard, so she runs away from the scene. Iris goes after her, but also thanks Rio for making sure things didn't get messier than they were. Now, the girls can focus on the dungeon rather than Rio, but our hero admits it's a pain being mean to cute girls. The next day at work, things are quite awkward for Bro, so the guild master calls him and says it would be better if he left early. He hasn't had lunch yet, so he decides to go grab a bite. However, he bumps into Iris on the way, so they decide to eat together. First of all, the elf girl apologizes for causing him so much trouble, but he says it's more of his problem. He had heard about the situation with the elves while at work, because people are looking at him strangely just because he spoke to Iris yesterday. Honestly, that's weird behavior regardless of whether someone is attractive or not. But anyway, Iris thanks Rio for yesterday. She knows he was mean to Carla on purpose for her sake, and our hero learns that both the women have made up after their argument. Rio is relieved the girls managed to chill, but it will still take them some time to be completely normal with each other again. Now, Rio asks if Carla is really mad at him, but Iris says that she explained everything to her. Bro does not follow, so the elf girl clarifies that she told Carla how Rio was mean to her for their sake. Carla was even happy to know that Rio would go to such lengths for people like her and Iris. Bro does not know why this conversation has taken such a turn, but then Iris adds that there's a problem regarding their other two team members. After all, they say Carla crying and then suddenly being happy again. Rio drinks some water and asks Iris how much she told these other two women. She says she told them everything, and the look on our hero's face is enough to tell us how he feels about it. Iris says that the other girls were surprised and angry at the same time, because they thought that a guild staff was pressured into action because of them being high-ranking adventurers, so Bro is being made the victim here. He did follow Carla, and he also invited Iris to his house, so he does not understand why he is being treated so gently. Anyway, the elf girl says that the other girls want to apologize to him directly, which is completely unheard of in the real world. Rio says that won't be necessary, but Iris says this is just a pretext. The truth is that they want to meet him in person, and this apology is being used as an excuse for it. He does not know why he is being given so much attention, but by now, he should have figured it out. Iris has been thinking about this for a while, and she tells our hero that he does not understand how special he is. The ability to genuinely find girls like her and Carla cute is quite rare. The same can be said about his elephant standing in attention while looking at Iris directly. Once again, the first half of the compliment would have been enough for Rio. He also counters, stating that there should be men who say they don't care about looks. There must also be men who are more handsome than he is, to which Iris agrees. However, Iris gives an evil look and says that men who say such things are usually only after magic items or rare beast skins. There are men who have apparently beautiful women with power and authority come to them anyway, so people like Iris and Carla don't really have a chance. Rio figures there's no point talking about this, so he goes on to ask about the term old maid. Also, he believes that if there are more women than men, then there should be a lot of single babes out there. Iris states that the term old maid is an insult given by the adventurers in the royal capital. It has a long explanation, but first, she tells Rio that the country allows one man to have multiple wives in order to counter the declining birth rate. There's also a high-rank adventurer promotion system. So, if somebody is rank A or above, then they are introduced to men for mating. This is because the country wants to preserve the blood of high-rank adventurers as much as they can. Rio says that since Iris and Carla are S-rank, then they too should have had some kind of royal Tinder matchmaking. However, the elf girl reveals that they got rejected. As a matter of fact, the men were so scared of them that they were asked to leave, as baffling as it may sound. All the high-rank adventurers are in magical harems, and some S-rank fighters are even allowed higher privileges. It turns out that Iris and her girls were also rejected by a night place, which is a bit too ridiculous now. Anyway, this is why they are called old maids. This is quite sad, but Bro gets it. He even makes Iris feel better by calling her proactive and cute. This takes her by surprise, and she calls Rio a wonderful man. Now, our hero gets back to Iris's comrades wanting to meet him, and she says he can refuse if he doesn't want to see them. He laughs and says he'll get his apology from them, but he does not know what will happen after that. Iris thanks him and invites him to their inn tomorrow. We now move to the next day, as we see Rio enter the inn, and he is immediately greeted by some massive pillows. It's the other comrades, specifically the babe with the pillows that can cure cancer. There's also a beast girl, so let's see what happens next. The babe with the massive pillows is called Isekai'd, and she is quite enamored by Rio's presence. Bro is completely smitten for obvious reasons, and he introduces himself as the man in charge of the guild window. The beast girl introduces herself as Isekai'd, meaning she's the one Carla and Iris were talking about. Contrary to her appearance, she is 28 years of age, which is old enough to make her safe from both Drake as well as Leonardo DiCaprio. Rio wonders if all beast girls look so young, but Isekai'd says that she is an exception because her growth is suppressed by her magic. She is the second oldest in the Rosencreuser gang, with Iris being the senior most, although she does not like to talk about it. Now that the formalities are done, it's time for Rio to sit down and talk with the ladies. Isekai'd talks about how both Carla and Iris were taken care of, and it could have been possible because he felt obligated to honor the requests of S-rank adventurers. Since this is something that cannot be made public, she would like to give him a suitable reward for his efforts. However, Bro explains that he was not forced to do anything with the two babes. He brings up the fact that his sense of attraction is very different to the rest of the world, but this only makes the scene goofy. Both Tsukikage and Liselot cannot believe that there exists a man who can embrace an elf girl. Tsukikage then asks what he thinks about her and Liselot, considering he finds Iris and Carla attractive. Our boy turns on his Riz by calling the beast girl cute, and telling Liselot that she is like a beautiful and stylish older sister. This may be venturing into Alabama territory, but Wayne is the master of that genre, so both Liselot and Tsukikage blush upon hearing such things. With this in mind, Tsukikage tells Bro to get with Liselot, and even offers to pay him for it. He says he does not need any money, so Tsukikage is visibly shocked. He then asks if he can do it now, but the fact that he is ready to do it for free is what Tsukikage can't comprehend. The girls ask once again if this is okay, to which Ryo says he is done waiting. He can't help himself as he gets up and gives Liselot a light peck on her lips. She gets overwhelmed, so the tongues come out to play as well. Ryo stops himself because he thinks he has crossed a line, but Liselot says that she wants to continue with him. However, Ryo says that his talk with Tsukikage is not done yet, so she should just wait a bit longer. He then asks the beast girl if she now understands how he feels about such women. Tsukikage is actually speechless, as she never thought Bro would be the real deal. He is like a savior sent by God himself to these girls, and now Liselot will finally know what it is like to be with a man. She is in tears, so Ryo asks if this is something to cry about. But then again, by comic guzzler standards, it's as if some otaku boys asked out an absolute baddie to go out with them, and she agreed. Now that everything is decided, Tsukikage decides to leave these two alone. She tells Ryo to take his time, and advises Liselot not to mess up such a chance. On that note, the both of them decide to go to bed. Liselot is quite shy, and she feels jitters when Ryo touches her hand. Her heartbeat goes crazy, so she takes over Ryo and tells him that even though she is untouched at this age, she will still do whatever she can. With pillows like those, only a fool would say no, so our hero gives in to her request. She climbs on top of Ryo, giving him the perfect grabbing opportunity, and he goes for it. Her watermelons are so massive that Ryo gets an immediate nosebleed. Liselot tells him not to do this alone, as it would be more fun if they do it together. Bro is in heaven right now, so he can't hear anything else. Feels great, but Liselot mentions how people used to make fun of her by saying she is a cowgirl. So, if Ryo wants to indulge in them for as long as he wants, then he can go for it. It's time for the Twin Peaks to get some treatment, but Liselot feels bad that she is the only one enjoying herself. Ryo says it's no issue, but wants to know how people normally do shady things in this world. Liselot says that it's usually the woman serving the man, as all she needs is his seed. With it being so vanilla, Bro considers such acts to be as bland as tuna. Our hero knows that variety is the spice of life, so he dials it up a notch with Liselot, making her go wild in the process. The twitching continues, and Liselot can't hold back any longer. She activates beast mode and tells Ryo she is going to eat him up because he is such a naughty boy. Bro can't believe that she is taking such an initiative, but since Liselot knows that he has a thing for apparently ugly women like her, she is ready to make him enter right now. With that, the official game of elephants and kitties begins, with Liselot doing her best to enjoy it all. She can't believe this is finally happening, and it feels like the best thing ever. With the way things are going, Liselot asks Ryo to let it all out, and then explosions happen from both ends. This seems to be a bit extra for Liselot, as she struggles to catch her breath. Ryo asks if she is fine, but she apologizes for losing control. She went ballistic halfway through, so it was almost as if she forced herself on him. She points out that Ryo is a raging bull, so he asks if she does not like such men. Conversely, Liselot feels that she is now spoiled, and cannot be with anyone other than our hero. As a matter of fact, she wants to go one more round, so bro agrees readily. After round 2, Liselot is completely drained and can't get up anymore. Now, Tsukikage shows up and tells Ryo that he has done a good job. She tells him that he can relax now, and she appreciates him taking care of Liselot. After all, an adventurer can lose their life at any time during a mission, because that's how dangerous it is. It would have been perfect if bro got either of Carla, Liselot, or Iris pregnant, but she won't ask for much. After all, even though they are all S rank, there are no men who would embrace them. This is why Tsukikage is truly thankful to Ryo for what he has done. However, bro thought that Tsukikage would be joining in as well. He wonders if she has a lot of experience, but she is shocked to hear this. She wants to know if he is being serious about this, but also says that he can't take back his words. Ryo says he never intended to do that, but Tsukikage asks if this is about money. She wants to know how much she has to pay him, but he says he does not want any money for doing these things. It should have been us, not him, because we would have also taken the money and become super wealthy. Tsukikage is still in disbelief, but Ryo tells her that he has already called her cute. He finds her attractive, like a cute younger girl, but then he asks if she can only do such things after paying money for them. She blushes and wants to confirm that our hero is telling the truth, but even as her tail stands up, he finds that cute as well. Tsukikage even admits that she had unleashed her finger blaster on herself as she watched bro with Liselot. She was jealous of them both, which is enough for Ryo to tell her they should get started. They can't get another room, so this one should do for now, and Tsukikage will put Liselot to sleep in order to avoid any unnecessary disruptions. Tsukikage feels the same way about being embraced by a man like Ryo, and she is glad that she is able to live long enough to see such days, although 28 isn't exactly old, unless you're Drake or Leonardo DiCaprio. Tsukikage is a bit conscious because she feels she won't be able to please our hero as much as Liselot, considering she too has a flat-screen TV. Ryo wants to know if her growth is actually being suppressed by magic, but she says that it's to her benefit, because nobody would treat an ugly woman badly if she is small. The soul is bound to grow old someday, so races like the elves can immediately understand Tsukikage's age. Bro decides to go straight to it, and he targets the Beast Girl's twin peaks. It's a bit too sudden for her, but time and tide wait for no man of culture. Ryo asks why Tsukikage is acting this way, because she should have experience doing this to herself. She says it's not as fun then as it is right now, so the acts continue for a while. Bro decides to use his mouth now, but he's gentle, which makes Tsukikage more at ease. This is enough to get her a seriously worked-up explosion, and the look on her face is enough for Ryo to engage in some tongue-twister action. Since the Beast Girl has been spoiled a lot, it's time for her to also return the favor. It's an Uno reverse of Twin Peaks, which may feel weird to some, but not to others. Tsukikage is a woman of many tricks, as she now has her tail do a job that is mainly meant for hands. She goes all out, and soon enough, she unleashes bro's elephant water. Her tail is a bit messy, but she likes it. Tsukikage also likes how energetic young men are, and then she decides to have a taste of her hard work. She finds it to be sweet, and she compliments her so much that his python stands in attention yet again. The Beast Girl is surprised to see this, but also takes it as a compliment. On that note, she sits on his lap and the both of them go for home base. Ryo asks Tsukikage if she is fine, but even though it pains a little, she is fine with it. She is actually glad that her body is this way, because it allows her to fit inside Ryo's arms properly. All of a sudden, Bro can feel some miraculous pillows behind him, and it's none other than Liselot. She is amazed that he is still at it with Tsukikage, even after going 2 rounds with her. The Beast Girl states that her sleep magic must have worn off, considering she was focusing on Ryo so much. Liselot says that she does not want to interfere with Tsukikage's session, so she won't do anything, as she has already been spoiled a lot. Liselot cannot help herself, so she gives Ryo a nice, soft cushion to rest on while he engages with Tsukikage. This is a really good feeling for our hero, and Isekai'd goes one step further by biting his ear as well. The beast girl tells him to keep his focus on her, as she nears yet another explosion. This goes on for a while, and now Tsukikage wants some elephant water as well. Bro decides to give her what she wants, and the effect is a lot for her to handle. Isekai'd has never seen this side of Tsukikage, as it's a really shady one. Naturally, her own intrusive thoughts have taken over, so she wants one more round with her lover boy. Ryo is not one to say no to such activities, so he goes ahead and takes care of her too. He leaves the room, having rocked the worlds of two babes, thus proving his Chad status. He opens the door to leave his room, but suddenly finds Carla in front of him. She seems to have fallen onto the floor thanks to the door, so he asks if she is fine. He then helps her up and she admits that she was sticking to the door just now. This is yet again another case of her getting caught in the act, so she tries to play innocent in front of Ryo. She says that she was a little curious, and our hero boils it down to her probably being concerned about Isekai'd and Tsukikage. Basically, she wanted to know how the experience would be if Ryo was doing it with girls other than herself. That may not be an ideal answer, but anyway, Carla says that Bro was quite kind for what he did the other day. He does not know what she is talking about, so she says it is to do with her running away from his house. He had purposely been mean to her at the time, but at the end of the day, he was thinking about her and Iris as friends. Bro says it's fine, but Carla still admits that she was a little upset to not have been able to monopolize him. She still looks happy enough, so it's not a big deal. Ryo wants to lift up her spirits, so he states that he knows she is going to challenge the ferocious wolf dungeon tomorrow. He promises that they can play elephants and kitties again if she comes back safely. This makes her really excited, because she did not expect to hear such a thing. She thinks of it as a free ticket to do whatever she wants to our hero if she and the girls succeed in challenging the depths of their mission. He says that he did not mean it that way, and they don't need to challenge the depths of the dungeon to get this in return. However, Carla does not seem to be hearing the words coming out of Ryo's mouth, and continues talking about unspeakable acts as a reward. Bro asks her not to shout out such things in public, but Carla is set in her ways. She knows what needs to be done, so she goes to her S-rank party to discuss the next plan of action. She rushes away faster than the Flash, and continues to repeat what Ryo has promised to do to her. You could even say that she is like a woman of culture. With nothing else left to say, Ryo decides he will go back home for now. At the guild, he takes a look at the exploration plan of the dungeon, but there is no way for him to know if the girls are safe, as there is contact with them. The guild master shows up and asks Ryo if something is wrong, but he just wants to know about the Rosen Cruiser girls. We learn that a week has passed, and there is still no news from them at all. The estimated return time from such a quest is around 10 days, which means it could be a tough mission. The guild master wonders if this estimate is a mistake, but Ryo adds that the girls will be staying in the dungeon overnight as well, in order to reduce time. Of course, staying overnight in the ferocious wolf dungeon is considered to be very dangerous, as it is also called the eyeball dungeon. It has 20 floors and a lot of wolf-type monsters too, who act in packs and can attack from behind too. This is why long-term stays are not advisable in such dungeons, and Ryo begins to worry about his harem babes. Now, all of a sudden, we see one of the guild girls rushing to the scene and panting heavily. She says that the S-rank adventurers from Rosencruiser have returned, which is a good thing. However, that's not all, because they have also succeeded in conquering the deepest level of the dungeon. They are now bringing in all the items they picked up after defeating the final boss on the 20th floor. Naturally, both Ryo and the guild master's faces show us how much of an achievement that is. It is quite commendable indeed, and now we can see all of the S-rank babes coming in with their winnings and a lot of confidence. We can see that they have gotten a lot of stuff, and everyone commends them for pulling off such an amazing task. Even though they are S-rank, it's still a big deal to clear such a dungeon on their first attempt. Iris is there as well, and she locks eyes with Ryo in the middle of the crowd. She signals to him, asking to meet her outside, which confuses our hero. Anyway, he meets her behind in an alley and asks what's wrong. The elf girl is actually quite pleased that she and the others were able to complete their mission. She then asks Rio if he remembers the promise he made to the girls. Bro does not recall making a promise to all the girls as some kind of group offer, but it's too late to consider technicalities. Carla said that Rio would take care of everyone, and that is what Iris is going to hold him to. Of course, this may be a bit exaggerated, but there's nothing Rio can do about it. He does admit that it's amazing for the S-rank babes to go to the depths of the ferocious wolf dungeon and come out unscathed. He compliments their strength, but Iris does not care about that at all. She is interested in having the promise fulfilled, so Rio has no option but to give in. Now, she says that he should only say yes if it's not too difficult for him, but he says that he won't be able to keep up anyway, if it gets to that. The elf girl says she does not intend to force Rio, but she can't believe that Isekai'd and Isekai'd got ahead of her in terms of going home base with Bro. After all, she was the second one to get with Rio. She feels sad, so Rio asks her not to cry, because he will take care of her anytime. He is fine with her in or his house, so she says that they should go to Rio's house right away. He can't believe how eager she is, but she says that she will be waiting for him to get done with work. Our hero never thought that the day would come where he would have to take an early day off to do shady things, that too with an elf girl. Anyway, he goes back home and can see that Iris is already waiting for him in bed, in her birthday suit. It's just the two of them now, and Iris says that even if Rio cries or refuses, there is no escape for him. He says this is his house, so he doesn't need to worry about escaping. Iris plays with his face, but he does not understand what she hopes to achieve with this. She laments that men don't understand this kind of romance, because these kinds of situations get women really worked up. She says doing this will appease to a naive boy who would otherwise be scared of doing shady things. This will lead him to a loving session, which is something every woman dreams of. Bro does not get it, so he asks if these things are popular in the shady night places of the royal kingdom. Iris is surprised that her lover boy can come up with such interesting statements, because if such a place existed, then women from all over the world would flock to it. Rio asks if such places have their own characteristics, but Iris says no. Customers come in without any special effort, and there is no need to provide the kind of service that Iris wants from Rio. This makes him think that the shady night places of this world do not have a strong sense of business. Iris says that he is quite strange to think this, as most of these places are public services to the people. Due to the imbalance between men and women, to add to the declining birth rate problem, being a man of the night is a privileged profession that is one of the highest paying jobs. You can become rich by doing this profession quite quickly, and as a matter of fact, the most premium men of the night are around the same level or even higher in power than the nobles of the royal capital. This sounds amazing, so Bro asks if anyone can become a man of the night. Iris says that if you wish to become one, then you can do so. Hearing our hero's enthusiasm, Iris asks if he too wishes to become a man of the night, because in this world, it is the ultimate fantasy come true. He didn't exactly have that in mind, but Iris says that if he did, then he could become the #1 male thought in all of the country. Rio says that he can't do that, because he doesn't consider himself handsome when everyone tells him the same thing. The elf girl once again says that there is no man in this world who gets excited by women as apparently ugly as her, so Rio can feel free to make them do whatever he wants. On top of that, he would have undeniable riz, as all the women would come flocking to him. Iris now has a sense of determination, as she tells Rio that he should inform her if he ever wants to take up this shady profession. She promises to visit him no matter what. He is still not keen on it because he does not want to embrace tons of women. He is more content on a manageable harem, like Iris, Carla, Isekai'd, and Isekai'd. This makes the elf girl blush, and she says she feels very excited right now. He wonders why, but Iris says that it is a secret. Anyway, they have been speaking for way too long, so it's time to get down to business. This is the second time Iris is getting a good view on Rio's body, but it's a feast to her eyes, so she treasures it. It's time to bring out the tongue twister gawk Hawk Tua 9000, and Iris can't control herself. However, she remembers that she couldn't lose her innocence last time because she spent too much time on doing this. Rio says that she can do whatever she wants, so she goes ahead with it. The smell totally gets to Iris, which is what pushes her past her limits. She goes full throttle and unleashes her best performance, but then Rio asks her to slow down. She asks what's wrong, so he says that he may forget not to take her innocence again. Iris realizes that she completely forgot because she was so engrossed on his python. With that being said, Rio decides to step into his own element, as he goes for Iris and her twin peaks. Iris really likes it because this is exactly what a top-class professional would offer. It's very different from how she would do it to herself, and then Rio brings out his own tongue twister. This does so much to her that she has another explosion just from this activity. Iris tells Rio that she asked him not to go overboard, but he is in beast mode, so he can't stop just like that. Iris can't believe how wild her lover boy, so she asks him to take responsibility for her. Bro does exactly that, as he unleashes his finger blaster 3000 onto her. She seemingly has another explosion, so she is good to go for the main act. Rio locks in, figuratively, and literally, as he enters the destination Iris wants him to enter. The acts continue for a while, and then both parties experience a mutual explosion. With that, both of them lay down to get some rest, and Rio asks Iris if she is happy with the way things have gone. She says she is obviously satisfied, but she wants a taste of his elephant water too, so she asks if they can go at it again. Rio is surprised to find out that elf girls like to do this kind of thing, but he is not one to complain. They get done with their shady activities, and then we move a bit forward in time. Carla suggests taking a bath inside a private facility at their inn, and she would like to have Rio come there too. She believes that our hero must be a bit tired after what he did with Iris, so a nice bath would help relax him. She even made a reservation for him, but he thinks it's too much. Carla doesn't mind, so she brings him along. Rio gladly accepts her offer because he has only been to public baths so far. In that case, Carla says that they should make a move quickly, and she sneakily smiles like an evil woman, because the day she can share a bath with a man has finally come. This does worry our hero a bit, but he still goes ahead to the bath. He is in the most luxurious inn at Cassandra City, and he is amazed that they have a private bath zone. He enters the bath and notices that it is quite huge. He then takes a look at Carla, who is already giving him an impeccable view. Carla smiles again and comments on how a man's muscular body is always a pleasant treat to her eyes. She has to make sure she engraves this into her memory before she returns to the royal capital. But this only makes Rio a bit nervous. He doesn't even know if he is supposed to hide it, as the roles have been hilariously reversed. Now, we switch to colored panels for some time, as we see Carla repeating what she said earlier. Rio asks Carla if she is enjoying the sight, and she says yes resoundingly. She adds that she hasn't even seen her own father like this, but that is venturing into Alabama territory. Rio says that he will go wash up first, but Carla asks if she too can join him there. He doesn't mind it, so Carla follows after him and positions herself right behind our hero. Now we are back to black and white panels, as Carla presses up against Rio's back, which would indeed be a heavenly sensation. Carla asks how he feels about this, because it is something that Tsukikage had taught her a long time ago. Basically, this position would make a man feel good without the woman needing to show her face to him. Her own twin peaks feel good too, as she decides to give her lover boy a different kind of back rub. This carries on for a while, and it's only a matter of time before Rio loses control. He turns around and calls out to Carla with determination, taking her by surprise. He then grabs the curvy babe and engages in a romantic lip lock. The tongues come out to play soon after, and then it's time for the Twin Peaks too. This feels amazing, and for some reason, this kind of play is enough to make women have their explosions in this world. Even Rio is surprised, and Carla says sorry for doing it first, even thought she is a woman. She could not keep herself in check, but then Rio holds her and asks her to beg him for more. She does not understand, but then Rio explains that if she says something cute to him, then he will make an entrance immediately. This is too much for her, and she says that she could never do such a thing. Rio is confused, but then Carla says that because she thinks she is ugly, she can't exactly act cute in front of him. It's impossible to her, but she playfully fidgets as she says this, which is exactly what Bro wanted to see. He says this was perfect, and Carla was absolutely adorable here. She does not follow, but it all works out to her favor. With that, he would like to get started immediately, and pins Carla to the floor. She was definitely waiting for this, and she can finally enjoy what she was looking forward to. The unspeakable acts go on for a while, and after some time they feel they should let it out. That's exactly what happens, and one must wonder how many rounds can a man of culture go like this. After all, he does not have unlimited supplies like Isekai'd or Kurosaki, so Rio is a true master. There's a lot of elephant water, and Carla likes that, so she tells Rio to stay where he is. She does not want him to exit, so Bro decides to go one more round before washing up for good. This is obviously fine for Carla, so they go ahead and do what they do best. Rio is thanked for his service, but then he meets Iris and Liselot, both of whom are upset. Iris does not like that he did all these things with Carla while taking a bath, and Liselot is jealous because she also wants the same experience with her lover boy. Tsukikage also shows up, and comments that in order to make up for his transgressions, Rio must take a bath with all three of them. This conversation is not going to end until that happens, but it's not like Bro is saying no to them. He readily agrees, which makes all of them happy, and one must salute his python for being stronger than a titanoboa. We can only imagine how the bath may have gone with the three babes, but now it's time to see some people in clothes. There is a lot of chitter-chatter going around outside in the hustle and bustle of the city. We are in the guild now, and the guild master asks Rio to sit down. He wonders what could be the cause of this because all the other guild members have left. This makes him think that perhaps the guild master found out about Iris inviting him for a session, which made him skip work. His boss talks about the day the Rosencruiser party stepped out of the ferocious wolf dungeon. So Rio believes this is going to end badly for him. If he gets fired, then he will have no other choice but to become a male professional of the night. It's actually a better life than what he has now. But Bro is just a chill guy. The guild master has a report in his hand, and he says that he has not revealed this to anyone else till now. It has something to do with Rio too, so he prepares himself for some bad news. However, it is now what he is expecting, as the guild master says that there is an even deeper level in the wolf's dungeon. There could be as many as 30 levels, but Rio is relieved that he has not been found out yet. The guild master asks him why he looks so surprised, and also comments that our hero has changed quite a bit recently. He tries to change the topic and tells his boss to continue talking about the dungeon. The guild master tells him that if he has any worries, then he can let him know about it. Rio knows that he is a person from another world, but even here, the guild master and his wife took him in when he was an orphan. He does not know if he can keep hiding from his boss and adoptive father, even though he is not the same version. We now learn that the deepest dungeon so far in the country has 25 levels, so if this claim is true, then the Ferocious Wolf Dungeon would be the deepest dungeon ever, apart from the pink dungeons of our hero's S-rank harem babes. The report states that after the Rosencruiser squad defeated the final boss on the 20th floor, apparently a door leading downwards had appeared. This could be some kind of new system for progressing in a dungeon after beating a boss monster. Rio is alarmed to hear this, because the number of monsters on the 20th level had anyway seemed to be increasing. If they leave this unattended, then a stampede could occur. If there are even stronger monsters on the 21st floor and beyond, things could get messy. The guild master has to report this matter to the headquarters in the royal capital, and it so happens that the Rosencruiser squad is also going back. He is going to ask them to take him and Annette along, but Rio asks him who this Annette person is. His boss calmly says that she is his second wife, so he too is a Giga Chad Pro Max. Rio is shocked, because he did not know the guild master had 2 wives. What's even more shocking is that he actually has 4 wives, and he asks Rio if he is all right in the head. This should not be a surprise, considering he is the most attractive man in this world by its standards. But bro is frozen. Anyway, he brushes it off, and the guild master says that Annette wishes to see Rio sometime, so he should come home for dinner soon. The boss is going to ask the guild to send a squad of high-ranked adventurers, and he will take our hero with him for this trip. They are leaving the day after tomorrow, but Rio does not understand why he is needed. The guild master says it's obvious because he is the only other male member beside him here. After all, the number of marriageable men is decreasing, and there are more and more women increasing who are looking for maternity privileges. There are some bad adventurers in this town too, which is why Rio needs to come along with him for safety. The boss needs support, and this will be a good experience for Rio too. He will make his face known to the guild headquarters. So our hero thanks his adoptive dad for this. It may be exciting, but the guild master tells Rio that he needs to be more careful at the royal capital. Since they are going there to ask for a favor, it is likely that they will be asked for something in return. Plus, it won't matter if the guild approves anything because the adventurers need to be on board too. If bro sees any adventurer who is honest and strong enough, then he should pick them for this task. Also, Rio should not get carried away with his sightseeing, so he agrees to his intimidating boss, although being discreet while talking to adventurers will be difficult. Now, we move forward to everyone traveling in the carriage. Iris asks Rio if he is fine, and he says it's just that he hasn't traveled in a carriage for a while. Liselot comes in and says that Iris is too flat to lean on, so her lover boy should come to her, as she is soft and warm like a real older sister. This causes some tension, so Rio asks both his babes to please chill. The guild master is happy to see Rio getting along with everyone, so he tells the girls to take good care of him in the royal capital. Carla says that she will surely keep her lover boy safe, but she seems to be having some weird, kind of intrusive thoughts. Anyway, after looking at everyone being energetic, our hero comments that he never thought someone like him would ever go to the royal capital. This is not the end, as there is so much left to be uncovered. What is going to happen in the dungeon? And will Rio ever do anything heroic other than being a Chad boy with unintentional Riz? Sadly, the video has come to an end today, so we will have to wait for a bit to see what follows. Like, share, and subscribe if you also like to be pressed by S-rank adventurer babes. How do you find Rio as a hero? Who's your favorite babe so far? Is it Carla, Iris, Liselot, or Tsukikage? Let me know in the comments below. It's a fairly new story, so do show this video some support, and I'll make sure to cover the next chapters. Okay then, I'll see you in the next one.